Hi guys, it's Bella and welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited because we're going to be doing our June monthly wrap-up video. I think it's kind of crazy. I've been doing this monthly wrap-up video for like 5 months now. Maybe since January? I don't know, but I've been loving doing this video. I love seeing what other people read and what they rate it. So if you guys want to see what I read for the month of June and what I rated it and a little bit about each book, then keep on watching. It was actually my least read book month. I read the least amount of books this month. I had a really busy month because I was moving. I actually just moved from California back to Alaska where I was born and raised, so I didn't have that much time to read, but I did read a few things, so let's just get right into it. I started the month off with the Mindfuck series, and this is a collection of 5 short stories that was made into one big book. So if you go online, you can buy the full collection in one book, but I read them all individually on my Kindle, so I technically counted them as 5 separate books. I want to give this series a 4 stars. It's basically about a girl serial killer, and she starts dating an FBI agent. Every book left on like major cliffhangers, which was so fun. I honestly felt like my heart was racing the entire time while reading this because I was so anxious for what was going to happen to the characters. There were a lot of emotions. I felt like I was in it the whole time. It kept me interested. I think I read all 5 just back to back to back, which in total is like 700 pages. So it's really good. Did cry my eyes out at the very end. So I loved this one. I really enjoyed this. Then I read Behind the Net. I decided to go back into my hockey romance vibe and I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I did like the trope of this book better than other hockey romances I've read. Our main girl becomes the assistant to a hockey player, and they actually were in high school together, I believe, and they had crushes on each other, but they didn't know that. So it's kind of like second chance, but not because they didn't have their first chance in high school because they never admitted it to each other. It did have the grumpy boss trope, which, you know, I just love that. It definitely had a good amount of smut, and I was giggling and kicking my feet like multiple times. So I gave Behind the Net 4 stars. Then I was feeling hockey. I was in my hockey vibe. So I decided to read Pucking Around. This book, I was hooked from the very beginning. I was into it right away. But as the book got farther, I just fell out of it, okay? Around 30%, I felt like our main character's personality changed. Like at the beginning, she was cool. She was a bad bitch. She was just like really cool. And then after she started getting in the relationships with the men, I felt like we lost her personality and I didn't like that. This is a Why Choose. She ends up with multiple men from the hockey team. She is hired as the sports therapist for a professional hockey team, and it is about a quad basically. So if that interests you, this is for you. I ended up giving it a 2 because I just thought as it went on it was just so ridiculous, but I do love the cover. I love how the words are sparkly, but yeah, not for me. I know that there's a second book, but I'm not going to read it. And then I had to get out of the sports. Okay, I had to. So I decided to read The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther, and I gave this book 4 stars as well. Loved it. I actually loved it. It was giving such summer vibes, perfect for the season right now. I feel like this would be a good beach read if you're going on a vacation. So the premise of this book is it is a family vacation in the summer for a wedding. But our main character has just lost her sister, so she is not sure if she wants to go to the big family reunion for the wedding at this, you know, area they go to every summer, and that is like the first introduction you get to the story. But then there's this giant game of assassin that happens with the entire family. So part of the book is like getting over the grief of losing your sister, but also like treasure hunting because it's a giant game of assassin and it is so fun. There's also romance, and I loved the main character. He is amazing. This book was so cute. I love the chemistry that the 2 characters had. I was this close to giving it 5 stars. I loved it so much, but it was a 4 star for me. Then we're switching it up again and we're going to a thriller. So then I read Final Girls by Riley Sager, and Riley's like one of my favorite thriller authors, and I've seen this one a million times, so I had to pick it up. I gave it 4 stars as well. A lot of 4 stars in this month. This book kept me guessing the entire time. It's basically about a bunch of final girls that have all survived, you know, really traumatic experiences and left with their life basically, and about them being hunted as final girls. I wasn't expecting any of the plot twists that happened, and I was really surprised, so I gave it 4 stars. Then I wanted to start the Twisted series, so I started with Twisted Love, but I don't think the series is for me. I gave it a 2.5 star. It's forced proximity, grumpy brother's best friend, which is always a fun trope. He's wealthy. Both of the characters had childhood trauma, and there were some high stakes moments which I really like, but I genuinely will never think about this book again, and if I'm being totally honest, don't even remember what happened. So, and then I read Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, and I think Alice is going to be a new author that I gravitate towards. I need to read some more of her books. This was so good. I got my mom to read it too. She gave it a 5 stars. I also gave it a 5 stars. I think this is one of my only 5-star thrillers ever. I gave Silent Patient 5 stars and maybe another one. So this is kind of crazy. Lots of twists and turns I wasn't expecting. It's about a couple that decides to go to a old church in Scotland to try to, the church has been turned into an Airbnb, and they want to go for a weekend to try to save their marriage basically. But one thing about our man is he has facial blindness, so he does not recognize anyone he sees. He knows his wife based on her voice and her scent and her touch, but he does not recognize her face. And this is really fun because it goes back and forth between like present day and the past, where the wife wrote letters to her husband on every single anniversary that they had. You're going between present day, them trying to save their marriage, back to all the letters that she wrote to him. Tons of secrets and reveals. I was not expecting the reveal at the end. I was very pleasantly surprised. I was very pleasantly surprised. It got me. So this was a 5 star. I definitely recommend it. It was so good. I decided to read this book, which I got for my birthday just for fun. It's Slender Man, and it's written by Anonymous, which I thought was fun, and I decided to pick it up because every part of this book is either journal entries or texts or memos or news articles, and I just thought that sounded so fun. But I am gonna give this book 2 stars. It just didn't get me. Like, I didn't like the story they did with this. Like, Slender Man is a cool, you know, thing, and I just didn't like how they wrote this. I was really bored. I wanted it to be over the entire time. It didn't scare me. I just didn't like what they did with it. So 2 stars. Then I decided to read Minx by Sophie Lark, which I've read like the Brutal Prince book from her, and I liked it. So I was like, okay, this is her new one, let's read it. But I actually DNF'd it at 80%. It is really hard for me to get. It's like an erotic romance, and I just don't think I like that. I like the chase. I like the lead up to when a couple gets together, and they get together really, really fast, and it's about them navigating their physical relationship and turning it into an emotional relationship, and that's just not my vibe. So I DNF'd this at 80%, so unfortunately didn't love that one. I had bought this book months and months ago. I had never even heard of it. For some reason I bought it. I don't know. And then I was like, okay, I'll just try to read it because I wanted to read a fantasy after all those romance and thrillers. So this is called White Horse Black Knight. It's forbidden love. It's a dual point of view. I enjoyed it a lot, but I wasn't necessarily obsessed. And it does leave off on a sort of cliffhanger, and there is a second book, but I haven't started it, and I haven't really had the desire to start it. Probably pick it up at some point because I don't like not finishing series. But I gave that 3 stars. Then I decided to read Serpent in the Wings of Night because this is so heavily praised online, like so heavily praised. I gave it 4 stars. I went in expecting it to be like mind-blowing 5 stars, shook me to my core, but it didn't. I was interested right away, but I wasn't dying to read it in one sitting, which is kind of saying something about me. When I start a book, normally I just finish it right then and there. I don't like read a few pages and come back later. But I did with this. It's like a Hunger Games story, trials, similar to Hunger Games, Light Lark, Powerless. It's like that same kind of trials and challenges type thing. A world of vampires, and our main character is human. So, And once it got to about 70%, I became obsessed, and lots of plot twists and reveals at the end, a ton, big cliffhanger. I'm excited to start the next one, and hopefully the next one's a 5-star for me. So yeah. And then I decided to read The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. I read it on my Kindle because most of her books are on Kindle Unlimited. I've tried with Frida. I've tried. I like 10% of the books she writes. Like The Teacher, loved it. Housemaid series, actually, I despise. I hate it. So I don't know why I even tried to read this new one, but I gave it a 1 star. Our main character from The Housemaid has been aged up a lot. Now she has a kid, or kids. Honestly, don't even remember. She might have 2. It was so underwhelming, boring. There were no plot twists, no turns. I hate that I hate this. Like, I hate this story. This one specifically was so different from the others. I was like, why did you even write this? I don't know. You go read it for yourself. I gave it 1 star. Ending this month's reading and this video off with the Heartstopper series. I was so excited to read this. I got this for my birthday. I've been dying to read it. I really want to watch the show. So I read all 5 in 1 sitting. It took me like 2.5 hours maybe. I decided to give it overall 4 stars. I think it's so cute. It is a graphic novel. I love how it covers super important topics for teenagers, preteens. It is so important, the things that are talked about in this. I think it's really great. I thought it was so cute. It was a really easy read. I definitely recommend it. And yeah, that is all the books that I read in the month of June. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more book content and book reviews and reading vlogs and all the things. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. In a few days, I got a TBR video coming out. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!